comeback is, so you guys are too. I'm like, no, we address our people, you know?
Right.
It's about time you start addressing your people. You know, your people are doing this. You guys aren't even fucking batting an eyelash.
Right.
And then they come back at the same fucking excuse. They say, you guys don't do anything. No, just fucking take care of your own, focus on your own shit, and correct your own people, and we'll
Right.
correct. Don't stop looking at what we're doing. Stop looking at how we're doing it. Focus on your own shit.
I just think it's so fucking weird how they're just so caught up on fucking who built America. Like, fuck America, fool. Like,
Yeah.
I swear. I don't know. And then that's dumb as fuck. What native, I mean, and maybe I know some natives aren't, but every Lakota that I know, and including me, like, we, I don't want to be like, oh, we stay strapped, but we have like a, fuck, we hunt,
There's a
we
lot
go
of things. There
fucking.
is a lot of things that indigenous people did build. Um, the Empire State Building, for one. You know, that was built by Mohawks. Um, indigenous people, I don't know about the states, but natives were on the rails, building the rail lines. Natives were like, there was camps, there was coal camps. You know, natives were in those too. Natives are in mines. You know, to this day, we are.
You know what? They also got to remember we weren't even allowed to leave the res.
A lot
Like,
of the times, yes.
yes,
Exactly.
they can't sit there and say, well, you didn't do this. Well, how about you take our place and come stay on the res?
As soon
I
as
mean,
they
like,
started, making those reservations, right up until the 1960s, we weren't allowed to leave without permission.
Exactly.
Like,
No,
they
no,
don't,
that's like
but
a
they
big
can't wrap their heads around
emphasis.
that.
That's like a
That's
big
the weird
emphasis
thing.
on that because, like, a lot of times they were like, oh, and this is for some Afro-Indigenous people, and sometimes the conversation just doesn't get to that point. But back in the day when someone was mixed, either with white or black, if they were able to fucking pass, they would choose to fucking be white. They would choose to be black instead of a fucking Indian because of our mistreatment, because we couldn't leave the reservations, because of what was going on our fucking prisoner of war camps.
and I
Like,
stated that. I stated that with Mamas and Alive, and somebody laughed at me, and I'm like, but it's true. You know, if like that's how the Métis were. If they could pass for a YT person, they would do it. But not all of them could pass, and some of them got caught and put in residential schools. You know, put on reserves. And somebody laughed at me, and I'm like,
yeah.
laughing. That's not even funny. You know, people would have to. And I watched his, like, one of my ancestors on my dad's side. I watched his census go from native Métis to half breed, or no, native half breed Métis, and then to white. Same goddamn ancestor in his whole lifespan. And the census that claimed white, he was in Alberta. He was in that's where they were taking all the Métis and putting them in residential schools and reserves.
It's fucking crazy. Oh, it's too fucking early, Charm.
It is. I was like, I'm going for toast. I'm gonna go have some breakfast and coffee, and then
Thank you, Reswan. It is too. I seen your comment. I'm gonna get some coffee.
this fool comes up, and I'm like, oh fuck no, you can't do that here. Especially if you're gonna say Merca. Do people really still say it like that down there? Merca?
Fuck, I don't know. Probably. Oh, look it! I confirmed who is behind the YouTube account. Who's
Who?
behind the YouTube account?
Who? Please tell us. Do Powwow natives only dance for? No, they do memorial powwows and shit like that too. There's dancers that don't dance with numbers on.
I believe it is too, the syndicate, because honestly, they're just showing their racism right there on that live. I mean, it's mainly, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, they are picking on the pretenders a little bit, but before that was nothing but natives.
Yeah,
I kind of figured it was. I kind of figured, but no, I'm not gonna lie. Honestly, didn't know who it was. I was just making, just throwing names out there.
It's always fascinating when you all make certain claims. Let me pose a question to those of you who continue to push the narrative that only Native Americans are being mentioned on this channel. How are you commenting under videos that supposedly don't exist?
It was suspected just because of the way that they talk, the vocabulary and whatever. But they also use AI for their descriptions and everything like that. They also speak in derogatory tones. Like, are you dumb? Like, I don't know how many times they kept asking me if I'm dumb. And I'm like, why would you say that about somebody you absolutely don't know just because they don't agree with what you say?
What we're not going to do is play the victim here. Many of you frequently come into my comment section, talking recklessly, insulting me, and even sending death threats. Calling someone dumb is a minor offense compared to the things that have been said.
Yeah, no, I've got it for sure, confirmed. But also the fact that Sutek claimed to see that video on you guys talking about the M word in Spanish, the Mayate word in Spanish. And
Yeah.
I have it recorded where he's like, yeah, I saw it. It's on YouTube. I already saw it. And I have it recorded. And it wasn't posted on there yet. It was posted 2 days later.
For clarity, that Emiliano clip you're referencing was already posted. It appeared in the latter half of the video, which is probably what confused you.
It's his account.
I have the video as well, and it wasn't that wasn't even the word that they're talking about, the black bug. He actually got it wrong. It wasn't Miyate, it was the other one.
Yes, the slur Mayate was indeed used, and if you need proof, you can rewatch my video for verification.
It was the other word for black beetle.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I still don't know. But anyways.
But yeah, but no, I've got it confirmed, like 100% confirmed.
No, you don't. Your so-called detective work is awful, and we've gone over this multiple times. For the record, let's list all the people I've been accused of being: Granny Coy, Josh, Carolina, La Chapa, the Syndicate, Rob, Sutton, Stook, and even BGP. I am none of these individuals or groups.
Like, even with him claiming to be racist, Miyate was what legal said was a green bug, but Tilika clarified the second word that Emiliano said was not a green bug, it was the black bug word.
Either
I
way,
even said it too back when me and La Chapa got into it on their live.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, remember he says it in the video too, where he said, well, no clip there.
yeah. But in that term, so yes, what the term means in Nahuatl is that the problem is that there were anti-black people who were using that as a way to call that to black people. So instead of saying, you know how if you've heard people say cockroaches and call black and brown people cockroaches or roaches, that was what they were meaning when they were calling them that word, because it meant beetles, so similar to roaches. So it was meant as a derogatory slur when it was directed at black people. The original word.
In my life, did he say it to him, or was he using it as an example?
He he said it to him as an example.
Okay.
As an example, yeah.
Oh, as an example. Okay.
He said, for instance, I would call you blah blah blah, like black bug.
They were talking because he was talking in the context of prison terms.
Yeah.
But I think what happened is what Emiliano got wrong was that he was mistaking his accent for what people do in prison. And so in prison, they'll specifically mispronounce Mexican on purpose. And so then Mexicans will start calling them the M word, right?
Yeah. We clarified with Emiliano in the live. We clarified that with him. We were like, "This isn't prison," you know. And I kept repeatedly telling him that's AAVE. Like, how can you? It's not the same. But
well, it's not even just AAVE. It's just accent. A lot of people in the South have that, and even you get a lot of Mexicans who, if their accent is a little bit more strong, will say Mexican as well. So instead of Mexican. And so, but he's coming from a prison mindset that he automatically got triggered and thought that he was being disrespectful. And then he was using it as an example in that live. But Toxic TikTok Trends cut all of that part out of it.
No, I did not. This will be the last response I do on this Emiliano incident and the liars that like to spin narratives to defend him and his behavior.
Because they ended up having that conversation and they explained it all and everything like that. But at the end of the day, Sutek claimed to have he was on his own live. I just happened to be scrolling by and I was sitting on the outside listening. And he goes, they said something, and he goes, oh yeah, there's a new video that NativeMamaz, they brought you up, and then I hit record when they said NativeMamaz. I hit record, and then he said, yeah, they were talking about the Mayate word and trying to explain it or whatever. And he goes, yeah, it's all, and they're like, and the people in the panel were like, oh, for real? And he's like, yeah. They're like, the video's posted on YouTube. That's where I saw it. It was on YouTube. You can go watch it there. So I went to YouTube right at that point to go look, and it wasn't posted. And then 2 days later or a day and a half later is when it got posted to YouTube. And then I have the recording of Mofax talking about, and he says it, he goes, we just need to start recording them and start posting them, all the anti-black natives, and start monetizing off of it. And then Mamas and La Chapa got into it. And when they got into it, Mo said, oh, well, I guess we can't clip that. So I've had, and then the certain people that they go after specifically is the same people that they go after publicly.
They don't do that to me publicly. They barely pay attention to me publicly. But they sure as hell like me on their
Lately.
trends.
But they got
I would say not lately. They've been putting you out there. I see them calling you out on the, but you were calling them out too.
Brother X was the only one that like when I entered that one chat, he goes, oh, and there's NativeVibez. Sorry, I'm trying to make coffee. It's just delaying my
But not only that, but they did another YouTube video directly at me on, and they didn't think I was going to find their source. And I found their source that completely contradicts what they're saying. They did what the Pretendians did. They didn't read the full article.
First, BGP, let's clarify a few things. I always crop my screenshots so that my sources can be easily found. This isn't something I do randomly, it's intentional every single time. I read the full article before sharing anything, and no, the source I cited does not contradict what I said in the previous video. Honestly, I'll be praying for your comprehension skills. Now, let's dive into the rest of the article to settle this. The article goes on to explain that forensic anthropologist Alisha Winburn, who is white, is starting to question whether she should continue performing ancestry estimation. Over the past year, this debate has intensified in U.S. forensic anthropology, with professionals challenging its methods and assumptions. The American Academy of Forensic Sciences is even considering a new standard to shift from racial categories to more specific social and biological populations, like Japanese or Hmong, instead of the broader category of Asian. Shauna Williams, a forensic anthropologist, mentions how the field has reached a point where more professionals are willing to challenge the status quo. In 2020, two anthropologists, Jonathan Bethard and Elizabeth DeGengi, reignited this debate, arguing that ancestry estimation is rooted in race science from the 19th and 20th centuries. The outdated belief was that there were biological hierarchies among races. Now, it's understood that race is a social construct, not a biological one. However, many forensic anthropologists still rely on outdated methods that inaccurately translate skeletal data into racial categories. Bethard and DeGengi also pointed out that marginalized groups often receive less attention in the criminal justice system, which could further harm these communities. They urged forensic anthropologists to stop using ancestry estimation and to investigate whether it results in discrimination. On the other hand, some experts, like Kyra Stoll, believe ancestry estimation is still a valuable tool. She argues that race is a part of how people are identified in the U.S., and it follows individuals even in death. Without ancestry estimates, she argues, missing persons cases might not be solved as efficiently. Shauna Williams, who is Black, adds that many unknown individuals come from disenfranchised populations, so removing this tool could prevent them from being identified and returned to their families. Research from Winburn and her colleagues found that forensic anthropologists correctly identified a person's social race about 90% of the time. However, in cases where they identified someone as mixed or other, they were wrong 80% of the time. This raises the question, who are these estimates actually serving, and who are they failing? Some forensic anthropologists are now advocating for more specific and useful distinctions beyond the outdated racial categories. For instance, cranial measurements can differentiate between Maya groups from Guatemala and Mexico, something the traditional categories can't do. A proposed new standard will shift towards population affinity estimates, which focus on more precise social and biological groups. While this change is promising, more research is needed to ensure it can be implemented effectively. Winburn, meanwhile, has decided to stop providing ancestry estimates altogether, believing that the current system may cause more harm than good. So this article does not debunk or contradict anything that I've said, because my point is that this social construct is still used today in modern times. It's also ingrained into everyone's psyche. You use this construct yourself, BGP.
Yeah. And that's what I keep telling. Like, I was in a conversation with Rob on my other account. After that, he was like, "You said I work with you?" Anyways, we got into a really deep conversation in inboxing, and I told him about the, I said, you guys are not complete in your presentations. And I used that cigar store Indian for an example. I said, the pretendians are going to eat that up. They're going to say, look, this is what we were. We were Indians. This is proof. Sure enough, on Facebook, we've got one pretendian claiming all those slave-inspired or, slave-modeled cigar store Indian carvings are native, like are them, and he was like, oh, that's not going to happen. It happened. The pretendians are eating it up. And I said, why would you leave out that important fact that the carvers, when they came to America, had never seen a native before? So they used slaves as their models to carve these. It's not going to happen. I'm like, seriously? First time on TikTok with these pretendians? I thought you knew your people. And that's what I keep telling them. Those are your people. You need to do this. You need to control them. Stop trying to control the indigenous people. Focus.
Well, they just keep misconstruing things.
Yeah.
Well, not the problem because I caught them in Mateo's live, Rob in Mateo's live yesterday, and they were both semi right and but a lot wrong on DNA stuff as well. And
Yeah.
so they were arguing back and forth, and then they were just wrong, and then saying things, and then bringing me up into the conversation, saying things I've never said, and then try to say that I was wrong and things that I told them that they were actually wrong on. So they flip the script when it's convenient for them. Oh,
Yeah.
but you know, they're saying BGP doesn't know the difference between genealogical and genetic ancestry. No, I've been telling you guys that you don't know the difference between the two. So now all of a sudden it's me who doesn't know, even though I've been saying that to them for, I don't know, months now.
And
But
that's the thing too. I've been saying to him about DNA. I'm like, you're not a geneticist. You should not be. And I've been saying that for months. You should not be talking about DNA if you're not a geneticist or if you don't understand. Like, are you a geneticist? No. Why are you talking about it?
well, none of them have any degrees in health science at all.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. I actually have a degree in health science. And then they want to diminish my degree and say it's just a ass wiping thing. That's all nurses do. When I can prove for a fact that nursing is one of the hardest degrees, bachelor degrees that you can obtain.
That's actually not even part of the nurse. That's we call them LPNs up here. They're like the nurse's assistant that actually does the ass wiping. So it just goes to show their ignorance towards the field. So why are they even talking like they belong in it? You know.
And they push scientific racism quite often. So when they're using DNA tests to determine people's ethnicities or race, that's all white supremacist pseudoscience. And all of that comes out of eugenics. So they want to keep on pushing that stuff, and then they keep getting debunked, and then they want to... I've caught Rob multiple times cutting off what I've said and don't playing the full clip. I've caught them cherry picking certain things. Mo's done the same thing. I've literally watched him play a whole clip and then act like what I said right before that I didn't say, and then try to make it seem like I was sugarcoating Spanish history.
I basically did the same thing to them too. I was like, "Where's the rest of it?" Or the video. I was like, "Where's the video where we were giving Manny shit about saying the N-word? Where's that video? You know, you guys act like we're totally anti-black and all this and racist. Where are these videos? You know, that was a lot of cortisol that I spent that day yelling at Manny for saying the N-word."
The problem that you have with me, but you can't address
You
one
have
problem.
been told.
But there's tons of problems, but you can't be specific about one.
We don't have to tell
You
you
have
the fact
been
that we've been doing it for a whole damn year is the fact that we're bringing it to you and telling you change your goddamn attitude.
So
Because
NativeVibez, so what's the one problem? The
what you're doing
misinformation.
is harming the community. What you're
Okay, you
doing
can
is
just tell
you're
me one
harming the
misinformation
indigenous
thing.
community. The Sundance grounds. You want what example?
Sundance,
I'm going to
okay.
say it. The Sundance grounds. You should not be in the goddamn Sundance grounds taking pictures. Period.
Okay, so I'll address that. The Sundance, the region where they're doing the pulling, where they're doing the actual ceremony, that's not allowed to be recorded. It's not allowed to be taking photos because that is where the
Have not grown up
medicine is
in
happening. So
the
are you gonna let me finish or
culture
not?
to be
Are you
doing
gonna
it.
let me finish, or are you just gonna speak over me?
No.
Speak, please? Thank you.
I'm just saying respectfully, like, I
She's
want to
speaking the
address it.
truth, though.
So Artem Mashtani, our chief, says we need more people to participate in our ceremonies. We need to call out more of our brothers and sisters to be part of our ceremonies because a lot
So
of the
take
youth is
pictures
not
and
part
show
of it.
it.
Let
That's
me
not
finish,
for
please.
you
Can
to
I
say
please
that.
finish?
Go ahead,
It's
finish.
not me. That's the headsman. That's the chief. You could take it out.
No,
on
don't
anyone
take
you
Wait,
want.
pictures.
hey, hold on,
This is what I'm talking about,
Everyone
Lakota.
stop, mute,
See, Lakota.
What the hell?
stop, everyone stop, please. Can I get the floor real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
One person at a time, please. Let's do this one person at a time. I can't hear everybody talking over everybody. I
So-
brought this live for a respectful way. So let's do this in a respectful way. I request in a respectful way. Let's all give each other a chance to talk, hear each other out, and then after that we could, reply back on any way. So at this time, let's just,
Sure, bro.
listen. Let's listen to each other. Let's hear each other out before we start going on defense attack. So let's give our sister the time to explain her part so that way we can understand everything that's going on. So go ahead, sister. You have the floor. Cat.
Yep, go ahead.
Sorry. So all I'm saying is I've been watching it for quite some time. I've listened to many, many sisters. I have listened to some brothers as well, but it's mostly been coming from the sisters. And that misogyny, narcissistic behavior needs to stop. And then the misinformation on these ceremonies and such. These ceremonies are sacred. You should not be sharing that information. It is bad medicine what you're doing, and it needs to stop. Plain and simple. And I'm adamant about that. Certain things that can be shared, but there's a lot of things that each of us tribes have that are held sacred. But again, you trying to claim that you have eagle feathers, you're not supposed to have those because you are not a federally recognized tribe with a census number. Don't act like that. I'm just telling you what's the federal law, and what you're doing is wrong. And excuse me, do you see your behavior? That's exactly how you treat women. Now with the man, if a man was saying exactly what I was doing, you'd be all up in there. Oh yeah, I know, I agree.
Just continue. I'm telling you to keep going with your complaints. Go ahead, because I'm writing them down and address them.
Do not do that. Do not say she's victimizing.
The host said one at a time, please.
So just so you know, I am far older than all of you in here. So as an elder, I am trying to get you to stop what you're doing because you're hurting the majority of the women in the Native community. And don't tip your head like that. Seriously. Do you not understand what you're doing? We're tired of it. We're done.
All right, thank you for sharing your complaints.
I'm surprised somebody hasn't reported you to the government.
Okay, you go ahead and do that because I'm not in. Who keeps muting me? She already finished.
Are you finished, Kat?
Yes, I'm done. Go ahead, sisters.
Okay.
So this is Lakota. This is what I told
turn.
everybody on the live with Friday. I said, the reason I don't pop up to these guys when I'm invited is because people mute and then they drop you and then they play like they don't know who did it and they just back
You're
and forth
speaking.
shit. So
Make your point.
First of all, misogynist behavior, like you weren't specific about that. I could go and accuse people for being misogynistic with me, and I mean, it's TikTok. I don't understand why people feel like they're chained up to a live stream and a content creator. If they don't like someone, they could block them. So I appreciate you blocking me, removing yourself from my space that you, for some type, shape, or way, felt uncomfortable with. And I thank you for that. I thank you for sharing, doing what you need to do on TikTok. Ceremonies not share. So again, nobody has ever seen me post anything that would show anybody performing a sacred ceremony. People go, and this is important to address because someone said earlier on here on the comment said, well, powwows is just a powwow and people do them here. It's okay. That doesn't mean that the feathers they wear, the jingle dresses, the regalia they're wearing is not sacred, right? Not everybody can just wear them feathers with the eagle feathers, even if it is a powwow, right? So it is sacred. It is sacred. So if people are going to talk about feathers and all that, then they should really be about the truth and not show the sacred feathers, because these feathers I earned.
No.
Our medicine, Arte Mashtiani, our clan, it is recognized, federally recognized.
You are
part
not
of that
a
clan.
federal
So please
member.
don't speak on me. You could be gifted a feather. You know that too? Someone that
You're
is
not a
enrolled
federal
can
member,
give somebody
though.
a feather, and as long as you could trace it back to who gifted it to you, you can have a feather.
No, you are
You
not.
know that,
It's
right?
a
Or you don't know
federal
the laws
crime.
yet. Not if you're given to by someone who obtained it federally.
No.
That is protected as a medicine man, recognized by the federal government as a recognized person. So you don't know the laws of what it is.
I know the law.
No, you don't, because why? I've been here for 3 years. I've had this feather for like 6 years.
No.
I wore them before. So please don't come out and tell me,
Federally
like, go ahead and
recognized
report me then.
tribes in the United States are the only ones that are allowed to have an eagle feather. It is
In
the
the
law.
United States, yes, you gotta go through the process of obtaining one. Our medicine man and the clan that I'm part of, legally I have a contract with this person. All right, we do
No,
have a
that's not
contract,
how it works.
and he is recognized. All right, you can say whatever you
I
want
got
here.
something to say.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me say something. On Pine Ridge, there's 240 sun dances, and I go to almost every one of them. I see all kinds of YT people dancing here. I see them with feathers. I see them recording. I see them taking pictures. You know, like, I was raised that you have to show respect to get respect. I go to Manny's lives. He's always showed me respect because I gave respect. And every time he comes on, he's supposed to come on here with just him and Lakota. And then all you women popped up, and all you guys do is attack him. If you don't like him, like he said, block him. And then you don't have to worry about seeing his lives.
Well, see, look at what we're trying to do is fix the division. We're not trying to be all divided here. That's the whole big old thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, Uncle. I'm up here trying to. I have every right to. I grew up in my ways. Don't sit there and try to invalidate
Uncle's
me.
not done
You know
talking.
better than that. You know better than that. Well, then why are you sitting there trying to invalidate me? You know better. Don't do that. Don't do that. You know your daughter has a baby from my own nephew, so you know damn well I'm validated. So shut up.
I'm way older than you. You should have.
I know you are. I know you are, but you don't have to do that to me. You don't do that. You don't do that to me. Mona, shut the fuck up. Anyways.
I was talking about age.
Hey,
NativeMamaz,
why are you coming at me like that, bro?
Because don't be telling me what to do. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. What you did to Ohitika was bullshit. What you did to Ohitika was bullshit. I don't give a fuck. That was fucked up.
No.
Instead of coming to us and fucking confronting us about this shit, you fucking ran. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. What you did to her was wrong.
No, that's
Yeah,
a lie.
go run. I don't give a fuck. You had no business even doing that to her.
Video,
Three of you.
I got the whole video. No, stop
Three
it.
of you.
You didn't even like Ohitika Chris about a month ago. I'm the one that made you guys.
We actually mended our differences. That's what we do.
Each other. I'm the one that brought you guys.
Yeah, but guess
closer.
what? We don't know more. We don't know more.
Stop it,
Not
'cause
you.
you used me already. You used me. Now you're coming after me.
How did I use you? Why would I use you?
I didn't do anything to you guys, man. You
Why
guys
would
have
I
been
use
coming
you?
at me for a
Everybody
while,
mute up,
a couple
please.
of days.
Everybody mute
Why
up.
would I use you?
Everybody mute up, please. One at a time. Lakota.
Let's get this straight. Both Manny and Mono were on that panel, and no one said anything about the N-word the entire time. If there was a video of anyone calling them out before I did, I would have posted it by now. I'm tired of the lies and the falsehoods being spread. No one uttered a word about the usage of the N-word until I called y'all out for your silence on the matter, while you guys hypocritically called out Kit Kat for her comments. What I've noticed is many of you seem to believe you are above reproach. You demand apologies from others while offering no apologies in return. Let's stop the dishonesty, take responsibility for what's being said, and hold everyone to the same standard. It's time to do better and stop pushing false narratives to defend bad behavior.
So don't be wasting my time by trying to prove that I'm racist. And then that was another thing with misinformation. Sutek, he was calling Mama racist last night, and then I ended that, like, going to that live by calling him racist. And I was like, you want a video? It's on Mama's page. He's tagged in that video. You know, you want a video of showing how you are racist and anti-racist but claiming that you aren't? The video is on Mama's page. He knew about it, so he decided. Huh?
You said anti-racism. No, anti-native.
Oh, anti-native, my bad. And he, you know what he did? He tried to divert the conversation away from me saying that where to find the video. He was like,
Well, they muted me out of the live last night.
They muted you.
Yeah, they muted me completely out of the live.
Well, after last night, I really would encourage all natives just to stay away from them, because they showed their true colors right there. They showed that they are really racist towards natives.
Yeah.
It was
There's
ugly.
anti-native.
And they don't understand that our creation stories are actually stories of science. They are explaining science. They're
Yep.
explaining evolution, and they're not understanding that. And they want to keep on making disrespectful comments and say, "You guys didn't just pop out of the ground." Nobody is claiming we popped out of the ground.
You know who claimed
But
that? A pretendian. The
Yeah.
pretend.
well, not only that, in Africa, they claim that.
Oh,
That's
really?
part of their creation stories. Yeah.
Pretendians regurgitated
Yep.
it and turned it into an Indian name.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how
Yep.
African creation stories are interpreted. I can't speak on that if they're interpreted as just myth or if they're interpreted as also science. But I know for ours are our creation stories are actually indigenous science being explained and being kept alive through oral history. And that's what they're not understanding, that we were actually extremely advanced in science over here because we were isolated completely from the rest of the world. So we weren't warring and having years long war campaigns, unlike what the Eastern Hemisphere was doing all over the place. While we had some wars and battles with each other, they didn't last but a couple of weeks at the most. So over here, we actually had more time to actually observe nature and make scientific discoveries over here because we didn't have the same kind of violence and warring that was happening over here that the Eastern Hemisphere was doing. And so they're not understanding that indigenous science is very much what Western science takes from, but doesn't give any credit for at all. And our creation stories are metaphors for evolution. We understood evolution before Western science did. And so they're blatantly disrespecting creation stories and they're misconstruing what people are saying. But even the science agrees with the fact that natives have always been here because they want to focus on parent haplogroups and they don't want to focus on subhaplogroups. Parent haplogroups, any of our A, B, C, D haplogroups can be found. Other people from around the world can be connected to those parent haplogroups. So it's disingenuous to say that only natives are connected to those.